Today we have Frank Stallone discussing the documentary
Yeah.
Stallone, Frank that is, the
Yes.
documentary about Frank's life and a journey as an entertainer, particularly as a
Yeah.
musician, an actor, and a boxer. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm still trying to get this Zoom thing down, but I'm figuring it out slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely. I was struck by the fact that you've lived a fascinating life. What made you want to be the subject of this documentary?
Well, uh, they came to me.
Okay.
They came to me and asked me if I wanted to be in it, if I wanted to do it, and I was kind of taken back a little bit. I mean, it wasn't something I was looking to do, even though I always kind of wanted my side of the story to be told, because it seems like everyone's been telling my life story but me for the last. So I thought about it and I said, well, you know what? It could be fun. It could be fun if the way it came out, like everyone else is telling the story more than me. I'm just
Mm,
kind of filling in, but it's more the people that are telling the story, which makes it to me a little more interesting. You know.
absolutely. Do you think this would have been something that you would have been ready for 20, 30 years ago? Was now really just the perfect time?
I think now's the perfect time. I think 20, 30 years ago, yeah, there wouldn't have been that much to talk about. You know, I mean, 20, 30. I mean, young guy, I don't know. I don't think it would have been that interesting. I think it's more interesting when you've had a little more road worn, you know,
Mhm.
I think.
Makes sense. And
Yeah.
you said that you were approached. So how did you link up with Derek Wayne Johnson on this?
Well, I met him at a club in LA, and someone said, he just did a documentary on John Avildsen called King of the Underdogs, which is very, very good. And he's doing something on your brother. I go, really? That's new. I didn't know anything about that. So, like 40 years of Rocky. So we just started talking and then emailing, and they said, hey, let's come to lunch one day. And then all of a sudden, he was talking with a guy named Emmett James, who's a partner of theirs. And they said, hey, what do you think about doing a documentary on you? I go, excuse me? They said, yeah. I said, we think, talking with you, it seems like you've had a fairly diverse and interesting life. I go, well, yeah, in some ways I have. He said, so what do you think? I said, okay. And then I didn't hear from him for like about a month. I figured, well, typical Hollywood stuff. And then they said, well, we're ready to get started. I go, really? Okay. So now we have to find people to interview. So I know a lot of people. I've been around a long time. So I just gave them my what they call Rolodex. And I said, you know, connect with them. I connected with a lot of them. I said, well, listen, we're doing a documentary. Do you want to be a part of it? And I got to say, most of them said yes. So it was really cool.
That's
So,
great. I mean, you can tell that you are filming through like different periods. I don't know for how long. So how long was like putting this whole process together?
I'd say filming wise, maybe close to 2 years, a year and a half, because the people lived in different states and um, so forth, and but the bittersweet thing about it is about five of them have passed away since we did it, which is Danny Aiello, my great friend, my manager John LaRocca, my first drummer Mark, who I was very, very close with, Russ Regan, who signed me to Apollo Go Records, and lastly my mother in September. But I was happy she never got to see it, but I was happy that she's in it. No, I haven't seen it now since she's passed away,
Mhm.
so that I don't know how that'll go. You know,
It's good that you have all these memories now, that
yeah,
you have these people within
yeah,
the documentary.
yeah. They're on film forever. Yeah.
Exactly. Which is the
They're
magic.
immortal.
Yep, yep. And
Yeah,
being a great, natural storyteller, how did you decide what stories you really wanted to tell about your life? Because I'm sure you have a ton, right?
million. Yeah. Well, they asked me. No, Derek is very good. He's a young guy, but he's got good instincts, and he knows what he wants, and which is really nice. I mean, I've done 77 movies, and half of these guys don't even know what the hell they're doing half the time. was a young director. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he wanted. He was open to suggestion. My suggestions were I really wanted um, the people I grew up with to be in the movie. My first band, as you saw, American Tragedy. I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't even know Theodore Dreiser wrote that book. So, well, how bright was I? Well, I was 15 years old. I mean, obviously, I'd read, what if I reading highlights or Boy's World or something like that. But anyway, so we, that's kind of how it happened. I said, well, I mean, I can't be here where I am now without my past. My past, your past follows you. Your past somewhat molds you to who you are now, because you can't have a future without a past. So
And I think that really, that perspective really lends to the documentary and seeing like a full picture of you.
yeah, uh-huh.
And what's refreshing about this documentary is that you're so honest in telling your story, especially when talking about those tougher times.
Yeah, they were tough times, and it's retrospective to have but those times it was a drag. I mean, it wasn't like we can sit back and I'm sure you or anyone else we always sit back and say, yeah, the good old days. But some of the good old days weren't that good when you're going through it. When you're going through your couch to find a quarter to buy a hot dog or something. I mean, that's you know, I mean, it got bad. I mean, there were times it got slim and I hated, but I had to call my mom. I said, Mom, can you help me a little bit? Well, of course, honey. Yeah. No, she didn't have any money either. But listen, when you're broke and poor, $20 is a lot of money back in the 70s.
And the thing that really struck me is that despite these losses, or maybe in spite of them, you always got back up from it. And where did that really come from?
I think it's more my mother. I think it comes from within myself, but I think the genes, my mother passed away a month shy of 99 years old. She still drove. She worked out every day, played her accordion, her piano every day. And when she went through her thing, she was sharp as a razor. But the thing was, I think her thing of pushing forward, damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead. I think that comes from her. My father was a hard worker, but my father was a rough character. He was a mean guy. My mother was an eccentric person. She was an astrologist. And so in the 60s, she would tell me all about astrology. And I'd come up to girls and go, hey man, like, what's your sign? And now it's considered, but then it was like, they go, sign of what? No one knew about astrology. My mother goes, well, Frank, you're a Leo. There's signs you got to stay away from. So that was, it kind of made me a little bit of a weirdo, hey man, like, what's your sign?
And now everyone is into astrology.
Everyone's into astrology, but she was into it many, many years ago. And so I'm happy she's part of the movie. My father was kind of a monosyllabic guy. I don't think he would have been great in the documentary. He was kind of jealous, actually, of us a little bit. And he had no talent, but how do you figure that out? He thought he was a better singer than me. I said, Dad, you're a hairdresser, please. Curlers, yeah, you got me beat, but I don't know about the singing department.
I feel like with this industry, you have to have thick skin, and you talk about having thick skin. So I was wondering, what's one more valuable lesson you've learned from being in the industry, or can you just expand on, your
Don't rip
time?
people off. Be honest. Don't be a creep. Don't be devious and go behind people's back that have helped you. And just because something good comes by, you dump all your friends, because then you end up okay. I Nikki, I never got into this for the money. This wasn't like, and I find that really creepy when you see 15-year-old kids. Oh yeah, we're going to make a lot of money. I say, that's what you're concentrating on now, 14, 15, making a lot. What are you, like Mark Cuban already? I mean, so I mean, I did it because it was fun. And I thought it was an exciting time. It was the Beatles. It was like all the styles, Beatle boots, tight white jeans, pea coats, trying to be British, turtlenecks, all that stuff. And girls who go-go boots. It was just a fun time. It was all the bright colors, the patent leather jackets, the girls. So to me, the last thing I was thinking about was money. We never made any money. We made like I think our first gig we made $7 with my first band. I mean, but we didn't think about it because remember, a dollar was worth back then almost $11. So $10 in today's money would be like $100. So like when your parents go, okay, honey, here's a quarter. Wow, that was like $5. You know what I'm saying? So when my grandfather go, Francesco, vieni qui, and they give you like, I mean, they don't have them anymore. There were envelopes, and you open them up, it'd have a hole, it'd have like George Washington's face, a dollar. Oh my God. Or my grandfather would give us a silver dollar. Man, that was big time. A dollar went a long way. A dollar lasted me a week, you know.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah. So it was, what are you buying at 7 years old, which is equivalent to $11 now. So it's just a different time, and I'm very blessed. I mean, this documentary and doing these interviews have really made me even go deeper in retrospective and believe that it's a gift from God. It really is. I mean, you know I had I didn't have a great childhood, screwy, but the thing is, I think you know the great one just looked at and said, this kid, give him a break here. So we're going to give him a singing voice. This guy one day is going to be a famous actor. I think I'm a person of belief, and I think you have to believe in something. Some people don't believe in anything, but that's whatever. But I don't think it just comes out of nowhere, you know.
Right.
And I just feel, I mean, I probably could have done better in my career, but I'm okay. I'm 70 years old. I'm in good physical condition. I don't have any maladies. I don't have any divorces or marriages or alimony. I just do my thing, you know.
Right. And having that strong sense of self and that strong sense of belief really does pull you through those hard times.
It does. It does. I mean, think about when an accident's ready to happen. Oh my God. Oh God, help me. Things like that. So, I mean, you don't have to be like a holy roller, but you know, some people get it from meditation. Some people get it from a spiritual. It comes from in a lot of different forms. But I just look back and I look at my life. I look, I've been shot. I've had some pretty hairy schemes happen. I go, and I'm still here, and I'm still doing what I wanted to do when I was 6 years old. I mean, guys, so 64 years after the fact, I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do.
Which is amazing. Not a lot of people can say that.
No, most people hate their jobs. I mean, a lot of people don't like what they do. They do it because they have to do it. And I realized there was a point of no return. Not that I was a horrible student, so it wasn't like I was going to go to MIT and make a change in the world. I there came a point as there's I can't go backwards. I can't. Not that I want to, but I couldn't if I wanted to. What am I going to? I have no skills. What am I going to be like? A lion? Clean up lion poop at the Brooklyn, at the museum. I mean, the zoo or something. What am I going to do? I'm going to be like singing on a street corner, like with a cup. Yeah, I used to be. So. But I did sing on the street corner in New York City, freezing my butt off in 1970 with a guitar. And if I made $5, and I'm talking cold, my strings weren't even moving. I was like my hands could move, and I'd stand on 56th and 3rd Avenue. People would come by, a quarter, nickel, dime, some penny. Some guy would throw a joint in there, whatever, sandwich. Hey, are you hungry? So if I made $5, I said, oh my God. And I'd go back to my little closet type room and sit there and listen to, just listen to the radio and just dream. When you're young, you have a lot of those dreams. You don't have any sense of mortality.
Right.
Everything's forward. Everything is forward. And when you're going like, wow, I'm only 20. God, I got 50 years to make something happen, to be happy or to be miserable. Now I look back, I go, what do I got? 15 years. I mean, so it's like, unless they come up with cryonics where I can live for another 100 years.
Maybe. I mean, and it's personal stories like that that really make the documentary. Like you said, you had all walks of life, people from all walks of life contributing to this documentary. You had your mother, your former manager, you have your brother. Were you surprised by anything that they've said in this documentary?
I was surprised by everything they said because I was not there when they did the interviews. So when I saw it the first time, I was as surprised as everybody in the audience, and and actually quite moved and emotional about it because I didn't know, I didn't have a great sense of myself. I mean, I had a great sense that what I wanted to do, but I didn't have a great sense of myself. I didn't look like, the rock star. My hair was all screwed up. So I didn't have a great sense of myself. So when people said really kind words about me, that going way back, that meant a lot to me because I didn't, people weren't as touchy feely as they are now. So people didn't say, you know, people didn't go, oh man, they didn't hug everybody and tell them their innermost thoughts. People like, sure, sure, Joe's all right. I mean, that's, listen, guys go off the military in the war, father would shake their hand. All right, son, I'll see you when you get back. You know, but today everyone's all gushy. People weren't. So as you were saying, if they have done this 40, 30 years ago, it wouldn't have been the same because people are different now. People are a little more open now. So the people that are in the documentary are my age or older, and they've also gone through a transition in life. It's where they've become probably a little more sensitive to other people's feelings and whatever goes on around us.
And there was also a fun dynamic between you and your brother
Oh
Sylvester.
yeah.
Like just seeing how he talks
Oh,
about
you
you.
used to beat me up all the time. Yeah. That's how we roll. So,
There's a playfulness about it that all
oh
comes.
yeah, we're always goofing, like always fighting, always doing something stupid. I mean, I remember once in Philadelphia, my mother goes, "Where's Frankie?" He goes, "I don't know." So my stepfather comes walking up the stairs, like the fire stairs, and I'm handcuffed to the railing. My brother bought like a left. He bought these military handcuffs from a place called Shannon's Army Navy store down the street, and he decided to try me out and handcuff me to the thing. But the deal was they were sold without the key, so there was no handcuff key. So my stepfather goes, "Jesus Christ, what the hell?" So they had to call like a locksmith to solve these like shackles off me. I was like 8 years old, and he thought it was funny, but he wasn't laughing after. I'll tell you that.
I'm sure like you could have had a whole documentary about just stories between the two of you.
Oh God, if we did the tales of the Stallone brothers, God Almighty, it would just go on. It would go on, but nothing bad. I mean, we didn't do bad stuff. I mean, there's some people that do. We were. I was not like I was a lousy student, but I never cut class. And my friend goes, "Why do you cut class? You're gonna fail anyway." I said, "Yeah, I'm afraid my father will beat me up." So I never cut a class in my life ever, even though I was a lousy student. I failed music. Oh, straight up. First day I saw algebra, I said, "I'm done. It's over. I have no idea what you're talking about." And now I think I now kind of give it to ADD because I'm all over the place. If you look at my house, it's all over the place. I got thousands of books. I mean, I got them everywhere, all over the place.
What do you hope people take away from this experience and from this documentary?
Um, I hope they take away from it that it's perseverance, belief in self, um, belief in your friends, uh, hope, a lot of things like perseverance. Like if you believe you can do it, if you waver from it, then you don't believe in it. So you figure if you say, well, I'll give it a shot. If not, I'll go back to school. Get out because you're not in it. I used to go with the girl and go, oh, my brother's a great jazz piano player. He's better than you. I said, yeah, but your brother punked out. He didn't stick with it. He's a bean counter at an agency. I'm the real guy. I said, I stuck with it through poverty, I gave up everything for this. I never got married. I never had like this stuff, but but that's the price you pay sometimes to
Right.
follow your dream. You don't become status quo, but I mean, it's like, okay, if I ask you as a viewer, what'd you get out of it?
Your perseverance, honestly.
No.
Your will to persevere to always get back up and never let the bad times really get you down.
And a sense of humor.
And yes, being in this
You
industry
have to have a
is
sense of
very
humor. I
hard.
mean, you would jump off a balcony. I mean, I would, with all the stuff like the forward 10 steps up, 30 steps back, if you didn't have a sense of humor, you would go crazy. You would actually, you would, and I, I would say 85% of the people that I started with all quit. All. I'd say maybe 1% stayed as professional musicians. Most of them quit. They said, you know what, man, I got to make a living. My girlfriend's still here. I'm getting married. All right, whatever, do it. And they quit. And I get people coming to you, man, you're so lucky you never quit. I said, well, yeah, I guess, but I had nowhere to go. I didn't have anything to fall back on. So, and that's the way it goes. And that's how life is in the big city sometimes. You just have to throw your hat in the ring and see what happens. But if you don't have the belief in yourself, you're just kidding yourself.
This was such a delightful chat, Frank, I have to say. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much. I
Thank you so much.
appreciate it. Thank you. And have a wonderful New Year's.
You too. And thank you for
Can't
talking.
get worse. So it can get better.
Yeah, let's hope.
Thank you, darling.